Hey there, students. This is your Supreme Leader speaking, and we're going to show you how to nuke this year's AP World History exam, which is going to consist of a 5 document DBQ. So let's go ahead and we will go over the rubric as well as some resources that will be helpful to you. So let's go ahead and go to my website, tomritchie.net, and we will go to courses, AP World History, to the DBQ rubric. Now, there is also a direct link in the description. Now, first of all, let's note that there are free study guides from my friends at Marco Learning. Free study guides for all of the units that are going to be tested in the exam. Beautiful study guides with all kinds of vocabulary on them, noting the key points and everything like that. So you want to make sure to get a hold of that. We've also got lots of exam resources for this special exam that's going to consist of a DBQ. Now, we've got a 2020 annotation and setup guide at Marco Learning, and then also practice exams. So you definitely want to check out my friends at marcolearning.com if you want to have great resources. Now, I've also got a DBQ rubric, okay? So let's go ahead and just take a quick refresher in what is the difference between this year's DBQ and a typical DBQ. Now, this year's DBQ is going to be 10 points rather than 7. And to go ahead and start off, let's note that the requirements for contextualization and thesis are no different than they are any other year. Now, one thing we do want to note, though, is now contextualization is 1 out of 10 points rather than 1 out of 7, and you've only got 45 minutes to take this exam. So what I'm going to counsel you to do is to think about in terms of you might want to do your contextualization last, and so that way you write your thesis first, then you go into your body paragraphs, and then go back and write your contextualization. That's just a strategy when you think about trying to save time and putting yourself in a position where you are not necessarily trying to rush to finish your body paragraphs when you hit that 45-minute mark. That it's just, okay, I'll go back and do contextualization, and if I don't finish it, then that is only 1 point out of 10. But I would start off with a thesis and then move on to your body paragraphs. Now, there are going to be 5 documents, and there is a solid strategy for getting 8 points out of 10, which is a safe 4 and maybe even a 5. So with that, we want to think about this where we go to my page here and then we see the annotation and setup guide from Marco Learning where we see that there are some different strategies here. Now, we don't know what's going to be a 3, a 4, or a 5. College Board doesn't even know yet. They'll decide that information this summer. But by our calculations, a 6 is going to be a safe 3. Probably a 5 is going to be a 3, but a 6 would be a safe 3, an 8 would be a safe 4, and of course there's the 10-point strategy. But remember, that's one of those things you really should only be trying to get all 10 points if you have gotten 10 points repeatedly through practice tests. Okay, now remember, there is a practice test available for free at marcolearning.com. So check that out. Just go to free resources, practice tests. Now, the 8-point strategy is what I would recommend for most people. Thesis statement, describe 2 documents. Now, the point on the rubric for describing documents, basically not quoting them, paraphrasing the documents, and putting them into your own words, okay, to show that you understood the document. Now, remember, you can't do this by quoting a document. It has to be actually put into your own words, but it's obvious that you looked at it and you read it. So we see that, and then supporting an argument that is based on largely, is there a topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph? And if there is a topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph and your use of the document supports that claim in the topic sentence, then there you go. You have supported an argument. Now, you can either do that with at least 2 documents or 4 documents. Now, I would say 3 or 5, because remember, if you mess one up, then you're going to need that additional document in order to still score that point. And so that's why I recommend typically that we go ahead and use 3 documents, and then we focus on these points we're getting for outside evidence and POV plus. Now, these are real game changers. POV plus, HIPP analysis, whatever it is that you typically call it. So when we look here, now instead of doing 3 POVs for 1 point, you can do 2 POVs and get a point for each of them. So every time you do a POV, context, audience, or purpose for a document, point. Okay, so this is where the game really changes, because now we've got 2 out of 10 points. That's 1 out of 5 rather than just 1 out of 7, and you're getting credit for every one of them that you use. Now also we see uses specific historical evidence beyond the documents. Now we've got not just 1 point, but up to 2 points. So 4 out of the 10 points are based on you interpreting documents and bringing in your own outside evidence, which is easier to do if you're picking your 3 strongest documents and really doing them right, rather than trying to use all of the documents and maybe using some documents that confuse you. So that's why I recommend the 3 document strategy, which can lead you very easily to an 8, which is going to be a safe 4. Now again, I also say, as I've said before, consider writing your contextualization last. Write your thesis, write your body paragraphs. Typically 2 body paragraphs is going to be sufficient on this 45-minute exam, and then go back up to the top and write your 3 content-rich sentences for contextualization. Now, what we also see here is that complex understanding is the same as it always is. So the complex understanding point has not changed at all. Neither have the contextualization or thesis point. Now, thesis points. Now, when it comes to complex understanding, my advice there is, don't try it, Anakin. I have the high ground. Now, when I say don't try it, it doesn't mean you couldn't back into complex understanding, because what we want to note here is that you can still earn it. Basically, any brilliant essay is going to get complex understanding, and you can earn that point. Now, my friend Emily Glankler at Antisocial Studies, she has a video about this that I think that you should watch. If you're interested in strategies for getting the complexity point, go to youtube.com/antisocial studies. There will be a link here in the description as well. Emily is doing daily reviews. You don't want to miss those. So make sure to subscribe to Emily's channel, Antisocial Studies, so that you are going to be able to participate in these free live daily reviews, as well as to see the videos that Emily's creating on YouTube. Now, another thing that we want to note here is, in addition to Emily's channel, Antisocial Studies, so another thing that we want to understand here is, in addition to Emily's channel, Antisocial Studies, where she actually is working live now on a free review session, she's also done some videos with Marco Learning. So we can look here, Marco Learning DBQ example, AP World. Okay, so when we look at AP World, we see a couple of DBQ examples that she has done here, basically working through, now that's AP Euro, but that's world history. And then we see here, that's on Marco Learning's channel. Okay, so Marco Learning has a YouTube channel with all kinds of great stuff. We see here, get ready for test day. So lots of AP World resources here as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, remember there is this page on my website that's got all kinds of great stuff for AP World this year. We see here from Marco Learning, from Antisocial Studies, and remember, I've also got this DBQ rubric available that you can have on hand while you take the exam. So go ahead and click the link in the description and visit this page on my website so that you can take advantage of all these great free resources that are available to you for your 2020 AP World History exam. Thank you, and it is always a pleasure. Good luck to everyone.